Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes. It was a key unlock for me to say, hold on a minute, Miguel. Your job as a consultant is to fly higher up and to start seeing all of these things together. And that's where you're going to provide value. The client asks you to go look at X. That's fine. We'll go do that. But you've got to see the whole daggone thing before you can make recommendations. That was a call to action for me that just transformed the way I thought about the work I need to be doing.
Think holistically. You can't, because you're going to meet with a client or a prospective client who's going to say, my salespeople are terrible, they need training. Mm-hmm. And if you're selling, if all you have is a hammer and their problem is a nail to you, that's what you're going to sell them. You're going to sell them the hammer. Yeah. You've got to look at the entirety of the organization. In that instance, it could be anything. It could be market conditions. It could be new competitive threats. It could be supply chain issues. It could be the inferiority or obsolescence of the product. It could be, there are any number of things. And if you're not asking questions at a strategic level, in order to fix that very tactical problem, right, you're going to potentially miss the forest for the trees. And that happens all the time also, because you see a cadre of consultants who are all too happy to take their clients' money because they are marketing experts or they're product experts or they're IT professionals. And they're not understanding the larger context in which that problem exists and how it arose, which of course would inform how to resolve it ultimately. So and I've gotten that from clients also. Like, don't worry about that. We need you to do this. Like, I can't do this without understanding that. And if that's not a good fit, well, then good. We part friends, and I don't have a crummy engagement. So.
No, that's a great way to look at it. I want to stick with the medical analogies here for a second and ask you for some advice. And again, I think it's advice not only for myself and others who are consultants thinking about their craft, but then also to just maybe even early career professionals. But you make this analogy of the kind of the specialists that are in their specific field, and then you talk about holistic medicine and the value that holistic medicine brings to the table. And I think that was very helpful for you in some of your journey. But here's my challenge with that, and here's where I need some advice. Forgive me, because I don't have a lot of experience with holistic medicine, but I think if you were to talk with a lot of with people in general who don't have experience with holistic medicine, they would immediately assume quack.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so how do I position myself as the right type of holistician, if that's even a word, the right type of generalist that is, even though I have a technology specialization in insurance, I've got a little bit of some operations specialization, but I've been in the industry long enough where I think I can fly and kind of understand enough about all of the parts of it, but I don't want to come off like a quack and not be able to be a master of anything. What's your advice to how I position myself as I think through that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Your holistic perspective, see if this makes sense, is informed by your area of specialization. I'll use Jack Welch as an example, who was, until recently, considered one of the great managers of all time. I think that's debatable today, but in his heyday, he created a tremendous amount of shareholder value. He built a very reputable and respected enterprise in General Electric throughout the 80s and 90s. He was a chemical engineer. He started with so the discipline that was required to become get a doctorate in chemical engineering and work his way up through the organization kind of gave him that capacity, if you will, to understand on a much higher level, and know, and importantly, Miguel, know what he didn't know and knew which questions to ask as a result of knowing he didn't know things. So you preserve your credibility and you're not perceived as a quack when you say 3 really important words, I don't know.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.